be honest, PPL leads right now in wholesaling real estate might be the biggest money grab that's happening in today's industry, as they weren't even really around a whole lot that much even 5 years ago, but it's becoming so much more popular today because now PPL companies are really seeing the power of nationwide marketing, generic marketing, and really how you can get leads for a very, very cheap cost and sell them at a premium to a lot of wholesalers who are simply just too lazy to run their own marketing. And that's really the truth, because the first thing that we always see on why people are even buying paper leads in the first place is because it just feels super good. Someone is running the marketing completely for you. You're getting consistent lead flow. Whether it's actually good leads or not, a lot of wholesalers, they trigger in their brain, oh, I'm getting leads, right? And even though they're not very quality, you're still getting leads, and that's an issue because we need to look at numbers when it comes down to cost per contract, cost per lead, and all this stuff when it comes to quality with conversion rates and everything, which we will get to. But that is the biggest thing because it's easy, it's fast, and you're getting consistent deal flow with somebody doing it for you. And that's where all these wholesalers are buying cheap, crappy leads at a complete premium price because of the convenience. And that's simply what it is. They are getting a lot of wholesalers to believe that these leads are going to be really, really good, and you're going to close a lot of these deals from these leads when in reality, it's a very, very high conversion rate. Now, pretty much why they end up being expensive in the first place, like I mentioned, is because these companies are simply running super, super, super generic marketing. They're running Facebook ads, TikTok, YouTube ads, because they're choosing these because you can get the lowest cost per lead out of anything you can do. PPC is not a scalable option. SEO is not a scalable option. Direct mail is not a scalable option. So they're going to use this way to get the cheapest leads they possibly can by running the most crazy marketing ever, saying we can get you the highest offer as is for cash, right? And that's how they get so many people to fill out these forms, whether they're good or bad, because they're not in the business of getting quality leads. They're in the business of getting the lowest cost per lead they possibly can while having a good, decent little flow, while also having them be half decent, right? So they want leads at a very low cost per lead that are like good enough, that pass all their tests, that can go where at least you can get in touch with them and have a phone conversation with them. And that's where so many pay-per lead companies are simply going wrong. And the biggest problem with this is that you don't own anything with the marketing. You don't have any brand equity with the marketing. They're seeing generic marketing consistently that's not your brand, so they don't even know who they're talking to, right? But also sellers aren't going to trust you because you look like a nationwide company. Whereas if you were running your own marketing with your own company, it would be a higher conversion rate. Yes, a little bit of a higher cost per lead, but I'm taking quality over quantity any day of the week. Instead of buying $250 per lead for a Facebook lead, I can get that same lead for half the price for my own company that is 3x the quality. So why wouldn't I be doing this, right? And then as well, because cost per deal, and that is the biggest metric that I look at when it comes to marketing anything, SEO, PPC, Facebook ads, YouTube ads, anything what it is, I need to look at cost per contract numbers. The problem is, with pay-per-lead, since you're getting cheap leads and you're buying them at a premium due to the convenience that it provides, your cost per contract is going to be triple of what it would be if you were to get those same leads yourself with your own company and being a fraction of the quality that you would actually get. And so that's the biggest problem is, for example, with PPC, when you're running local PPC as well as local Facebook ads yourself with your own company, a good metric to go off of is usually what I get is cost per deal, cost per contract is around $2,000 to $2,500. That's not going to be what you're going to get with pay-per-lead because that's already, 8 to 10 leads. But we all know if you've done pay-per-lead for long enough like I have and other wholesalers have, you know that you're not getting 1 in 10. Even though they all say you're getting 1 in 10, it's not the truth. It's just simply not the truth. Pay-per-lead companies are not out here to provide you as quality leads as they can. They're out here to provide the lowest cost per lead that they can possibly get from YouTube and Facebook and TikTok, because that's where you're catching people who are curious and they fill out the form, and then you now get that lead, which is, you think is semi-decent because you get them on the phone and you talk to them, and sometimes you might get 1 out of usually 30 to 40. Crazy. Right? You're paying $200 per lead for leads that you could get yourself for a heck of a lot less than that. Way less than that. And using your brand to do it so that you're actually getting more brand equity with this. Now, I know we've talked about it, but what actually leads to a lower cost per lead in the long run is simply running your own marketing. Now, what do we really mean by this? Of course, we want to all run our own marketing. We want to get low cost per lead and high profit margins and a low cost per contract. Well, compared to pay per lead, like we talked about, you're sitting around $5,000 to $6,000 cost per contract. If you run your own Facebook ads in a proper way, what we're sitting in our company is every $2,000 to $2,500. That's where we're sitting at a cost per contract, and I can tell you we're making way more than what we would if we would have got that same lead from a pay per lead, because now they've seen our ad multiple times, they trust us, we're local, and we had that brand equity, making it easier to close and getting more profit for that trust to provide at that low offer to actually get accepted. And so that's really the game, is we want to make sure that our cost per contract is actually standard and actually good in the long term. Facebook ads will provide this $2,000 to $2,500, at least for the campaigns that I run, as well as with PPC, it's around the same, around $2,000 to $2,500 cost per deal. And that's very important because if you run your own marketing, yes, it may take a month or extra 2 months to run your own marketing, but that money you're spending on pay per lead, say you get 10 leads a month with pay per lead. That's already $2,500. But you're going to have to do that amount of leads 3 months in, right? And you're going to get a deal every 2 or 3 months, and you're pouring this money into this pay per lead, and you're building no brand equity off of it. That's why it's a big issue, and why I think if you're in the game for the long term and you're not running your own marketing, you need to start. You need to start building your own brand. You need to start building your own company name in your local market, building a Facebook page, building a website that is actually going to rank so that you can run PPC, get it ranked on SEO, and run Facebook ads to get low cost per lead and actually get long-term deal flow, because they know who you are, and it's easier to close these because they actually trust that you're a local company because they've seen you around the block. And that's what's super important. When sellers already know you, your brand is compounding, and everything is going the way it needs to go. When you're running your marketing and you have a low cost per lead, when it's sitting around $200 to $250 for PPC, and then when it's sitting in Facebook, it's around $100 to $150 for really good quality leads. You can close these so much easier and make 10x the profit. So that's what actually lowers your cost per lead long term. If you were to run your own marketing, build your own brand, build your own company, build your own website, Facebook page, everything like that, instead of pouring the money into these pay-per leads. Yes, temporarily, you can still run pay-per-lead if you're trying to set these things up and you're just in the process and you just need some lead flow and you have the budget. Fine, I'm not against pay-per-leads. However, if you're in this game long-term and you're turning to PPL as a long-term option, and this is my ticket to success, it simply will not be. You will not get rich off of pay-per-leads because their business models do get the lowest cost per lead and sell it at a premium price because you don't want to run your own marketing, and it's super easy for them to launch a campaign and get those leads. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe. It would mean a lot to me. If you have any questions, feel free to comment below. Appreciate you watching.